Good day, dear teachers in the Division of Marikina City. Our Education Program Supervisor in English, Ms. Janet S. Kahugiran, had given us an overview on what assessment is all about, why assessment is important, how do we plan or prepare for the assessment, and how are we going to compute for the different kinds of assessment in the different learning areas. Today, I am tasked to present to you the process flow in the formative assessment and the summative assessment using the modular learning delivery. First, I am going to discuss the formative assessment using the modular learning delivery. Now, let us review once again what formative assessment is all about. It is a process that involves teachers using evidence about what learners know and can do to inform and improve their teaching. The formative assessment is very important so that the teacher can plan well or adjust on their different learning strategies that will be appropriate to their learners, especially those who need remediation. The formative assessment is also a process through the teacher's immediate feedback enables students to take responsibility for their own learning and identify areas where they do well and where they need help. This is stated in DepEd Order 31, Series 2020, page 1. Now let me focus on the students taking responsibility for their own learning. Now it is very important for us, dear teachers, to always remind our students that they should always be the one answering or accomplishing the different parts of the module, because it is very important that we would be able to get or record the correct data in order for us to give the appropriate remediation or enhancement activities for our learners. Let us also remind our dear parents that they should only guide or monitor their child as they answer the different parts of the modules. Now, for the different parts of the module for kindergarten that are used for the formative assessment, we have these parts of the module. We have subukin, tuklasin, suriin, pagyamanin, isa-isip, and isagawa. All this part of the module for kindergarten form the part of the formative assessment. These parts of the module are used for the ECD checklist and the progress report card. As we all know, for the kindergarten learners, we do not use the pen and paper test, but instead we have the ECD checklist and the progress report as a way of monitoring the progress of our learners. We also have the descriptive type of grading wherein we use B, C, and D in the progress report in order to report or present to the parents the progress of their learners. B stands for beginning, D is for developing, and C is for consistent. All the parts of the modules are aligned in the most essential learning competencies. Therefore, the modules will already serve as a reference for the teacher to monitor the checklist and the progress report of their learner. How about the parts of the grades 1 to 12 modules that are used for the formative assessment? We have here subukin, what I know, which is the pretest, tuklasin, what I need to know, suriin, what is it, pagyamanin, what's more, isa-isip, what I have learned, isagawa, what I can do, tayahin, or the assessment part, and lastly, karagdagang gawain or the additional activities. All this part of the module form or serve as the formative assessment. All of this should be checked or monitored by the teacher, but they are not graded. This part of the module will only serve as a reference for the teacher to make the necessary adjustments or prepare activity sheets or additional performance tasks for learners who need remediation. Now, let's discuss the process flow in the formative assessment using the modular learning delivery. I will be discussing to you the different roles of the teacher, the roles of the learner, and the roles of the parents or the guardians. Now, let's have the first role of the teacher. First, they have to communicate to the learners and or to the parents or guardians the parts of the module for the formative assessment and its purpose. The teacher may set a time or schedule when they would like to discuss this to their parents on the different parts of the modules and on how they are going to answer the modules. Now, for the learner, it is their role to answer the different parts of the modules, specifically on what I know, or subukin, which is the pre-assessment activity, what's more, or pagyamanin. We have a reminder here for our learners that they may answer only one activity among the 3 given activities in the module. We have observed that in other learning areas, there are 2 or 3 activities given. So we are only asking for our learners that they may answer only one activity so that they will not have difficulty or that they will not be burdened in accomplishing the different tasks in the modules. Now, what are the roles of the parents? They only need to check the answers of the child using the answer key at the back part of the module. We have there the answer key for what I know or subukin up to what I can do or isagawa. Next step, the teacher will have to refer to the parent or the learner's feedback form to consolidate and analyze the learner's performance. They will have to consolidate here what the answers of the teacher, the answers of the parents or the learners on how they were able to accomplish the forms in the module and what part of the module are they having difficulty in answering. Now, what is the learner's role? They will have to answer also the parent or the feedback form and submit the copy to the teacher following the given schedule in the weekly home learning plan. Now, there is another reminder here that the modules will not be returned to the teacher or to the school, but we are only going to return the feedback form following the schedule stated at the weekly home learning plan. So there is no need for the parents or the learners to submit the module, but instead that they are only required to submit the parent or the learner feedback form, for this will serve as the reference in answering the different parts of the module that will serve as their assessment part in the formative assessment. Now, for the parent or the guardian, they will also answer the parent or the learner's feedback form, especially if their child is only in the kindergarten to grade 3, and they will have to submit this to their teacher following the given schedule. Third step, the teacher will have to identify the learners who need remediation on the specific skills to be developed. Now, for the learner, they will have to accomplish the task given in the remediation or for the enrichment activities, after which they are going to submit the given task for remediation or enhancement following the given schedule. Now, the role of the parents now or the guardian is just to monitor their child as they perform or accomplish the given task and submit the remediation or enhancement activities following the given schedule. Fourth step, the teacher will now have to accomplish the individual learning plan, which is stated in the MCI 2020-00162 Annex F, page 26. This plan is for the learners who are lagging behind or need remediation. So the result of the parent or learner's feedback form will identify who among the learners need the remediation. So they will be included in the list in the learning or the individual learning monitoring plan. Now, the learners here will have to accomplish the given task in the remediation and enhancement activities, and they will have to submit all of these activities based on the given schedule by the teacher. Now, for their parents, they also have to monitor their child again as they perform or accomplish the given task and submit this one following the schedule given by the teacher. Now, we have here the sample formative assessment as stated in Debit Order 31, page 10. What are the possible formative assessment that can be used by the teacher? We have here for the strategy, establishing clear learning target and success criteria. The teacher may give Pause the learning targets before the start of the lesson to get learners to think about what they will be learning and how these are connected to the prior knowledge and personal experiences. Another strategy is eliciting useful evidence of learning. The teacher can also provide effective feedback, wherein the teacher can record and upload an audio or video file containing feedback on the learner's performance. The teacher can also send written feedback via email, SMS, or mobile message. If necessary, add photographs or screenshots of learners' outputs to support the feedback. Other examples here. Another strategy is engaging learners in assessing and improving each other's work. Another one is increasing learners' ownership of their own learning. So you can read these examples of the formative assessment, pages 10 to 11. Now let me discuss to you the second type of assessment, which is the summative assessment, but still using the modular learning delivery. Let us go back again. What is the summative assessment? It is an assessment that is usually administered toward the end of a learning period to measure the extent to which the learners have mastered the essential learning competencies, the results of which are recorded and are used to report the learner's achievement. This is in reference to DepEd Order 31/2020, page 1. So the type of the summative assessment is recorded, and this is now graded and reported in the learner's progress report card. Now, under the summative assessment, there are two types of summative assessment. First one are the written works. The written works are administered to assess essential knowledge and understanding through quizzes and long or unit tests. Items should be distributed across the cognitive process dimensions as mentioned in DepEd Order 8/2015, page 7. The written works uses a combination of selected response and constructed response formats so that all are adequately covered, as stated in DepEd Order 31/2020, page 4. In our modules, the post-assessment is already included in the modules found at the last page. Specifically for the second quarter, the post-assessment are already included in our modules. So the teachers will no longer have difficulty preparing their own written works. The teacher may also prepare their own written works aligned with the most essential learning competency if they see that there is a need for them to prepare one that is appropriate for the type of learners or for the needs of the learners that they have. Now, it was mentioned there a while ago on the cognitive process dimension. Now, these are the dimensions in the cognitive process. Let's just recall the hierarchy of objectives. These are the remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Being remembering is the lowest form of objective, and creating being the highest form of the objective. So we are already very familiar with this, that in preparing the different types of assessment, all types of questions should be distributed in this cognitive process dimension so that all the learners will have the equal opportunity or the chance for them to be able to answer at least a part of the assessment. For those learners who are having difficulty, or what we call the learners with learning difficulty, at least they can answer the type under remembering and understanding, while our learners who are advanced, they could already answer the part on the evaluating and creating. Now, the second type of summative assessment is the performance task. This one refers to the assessment task that allows learners to show what they know and are able to do in diverse ways. They may create or innovate products or do performance-based tasks, skill demonstrations, group presentations, oral work, multimedia presentations, and research projects. It is important to note that written outputs may also be considered as performance tasks. This is stated in Deped Order 8, 2015, pages 7 to 8, and Deped Order 31, once again, Series 2020, pages 4 to 5. So, going back, under the summative assessment, we have two kinds. We have the first one, that is the written works, and the second one, these are the performance tasks. Now, what are the parts of the modules used for the summative assessment? As I have mentioned there a while ago, all the parts of the modules now have already their post-assessment, or in the subjects using Filipino as their mode of instruction, they have their maikling pagsusulit. So the post-assessment or the maikling pagsusulit fall under the written works. So all of these are recorded and reported to the parents or to the learners. Now, what are our process flow now in the performance tasks using the modular learning delivery? Still, we have the different roles of the teacher, the learner, the parents, or the guardians. For the teacher, they will have to communicate or inform the learners and the parents on the design and standards for the grading, the assessment. So it is very important that the learners or the parents have an idea, or they are oriented on how they will be graded or assessed, so that they would be able to perform well on the different parts of the module. Now, for the learner, they need to understand the importance of the summative assessment as part of the grading system, so that they could do the performance tasks or the activity sheets well if they would like to have higher grades, or if they would like to improve on their grades as well. Now, for the parents and the guardian's role, they need to monitor again or assist their child as they perform or accomplish the different tasks. Let us always remind our parents that they will just have to guide or monitor their child. They will not be the one to answer or accomplish the different parts of the modules. Second step, the teacher will now have to plan the assessment aligned with the most essential learning competencies assigned for the week for the assessment, and they will have to refer or see the budget of work or refer to the post-assessment provided for each module. Now, for the learner, once again, they will have to read and understand and accomplish and answer the post-assessment, and they will have to submit the post-assessment sheet to the school or to the teacher following the given schedule. Once again, they will not submit the modules, but they will only have to submit the post-assessment sheet or a kind of paper or the answer sheet where they have written the answers for the post-assessment. Now, for the parents or the guardian's role, they will again guide their child as they accomplish the post-assessment test and submit also the post-assessment sheet to the school or teacher following the given schedule. Thirdly, the teacher now will have to check and record the post-assessment as part of the written work in the grading system. Now, a note here or a reminder for our teachers, we only need or have a minimum of 4 written work should be given per quarter, as stated in Deped Order 31, 2020. So if you have 8 modules in a quarter, we only need, or you have at least 4 written works and 4 performance works for performance tasks to be recorded. Fourth step now for the teacher is to return the recorded post-assessment test to the learners or parents for the review and reference study. After checking the post-assessment test, it is important that the teacher will have a post-conference or discussion with the parents so that they will be able to discuss what is the result of the post-assessment of their child and how they would be able to guide their learner or their child so that they could improve or monitor on the progress of their child. Now, for the learner, they will have to analyze the result of the post-assessment and do further study if needed. If the learner had taken or had a grade of below 75, They need to study more so that they will be able to cope up and be able to get 75 or more in the succeeding post-assessment test. Now, for the parent or the guardian, they also have to analyze the result of the post-assessment of their child, and if the child has a score of below 75, they need to review some more or study some more and guide their child as they perform or do the different performance tasks or activity sheets given by the teacher. Okay, the next step, the teacher will now have to set a schedule to communicate the result of post-assessment test to the learner or the parent and have an agreement on the remediation or task to be accomplished if needed. Now, this one is very, very important. This is what we call the feedbacking part. We should not stop in just recording the result of the assessment of the performance task, but we should be able to discuss, present, or feedback the result of the assessment to the parent or to the learner, specifically for those learners who are lagging behind, so that we could be able to monitor or help them as they progress in answering the activity sheets or the remediation given by the teacher until they reach mastery level, or as they progress and improve in answering the activity sheets or the performance task. Now, once again, the role of the learner will have to accomplish the activity sheets or tasks given by the teacher during the remediation, and their parents or guardians will also have to monitor or guide their child as they answer or accomplish the task for the remediation if needed. Okay, next one, the teacher now will have to prepare the individual learning plan for those learners who need remediation or for those learners who need or are lagging behind. The parts of the individual learning plan will be discussed further and will be discussed in details by our education program supervisor in charge of Filipino, Sir Galposo Alburo. Now, the next role for the learner is that they will have to accomplish again the activity sheets or the performance tasks given by the teacher for the remediation, and their parent or guardian will have to assist them and monitor their child as they accomplish the performance tasks or the activity sheets given by the teacher. Now, we already have here a sample on the individual learning monitoring plan. We have here the different parts, the details of which will be discussed by Sir Galposo Alburo, but let's just have an overview. So we have here a column for the learning area. Say, for example, in Filipino or mathematics, the learners need, what are the learning gaps, what are the interventions or strategies that will be provided by the teacher, what will be the monitoring date, and now for the learner status, this is very, very important. If the learner is in insignificant progress or having an insignificant progress, or the learners are having significant progress, they are already improving, they are getting a grade of 75 and up, or they are already under the mastery level. And okay, below we already have here the intervention status. If the learner is not making significant progress in a timely manner, intervention strategies need to be revised. So, revisions or another strategy shall be made by the teacher, or another set of activity sheets or performance tasks should be given by the teacher. Learning is making significant progress. Continue with the learning plan so the teacher can check on that part. Or if the learning has reached mastery level of the competencies in the learning plan. So this is what we plan our learners need to achieve, that they will be able to reach the mastery level in the status. Okay, we also have here the sample performance task under Debit Order 31, 2020, page 12. So we have here the sample performance task under languages. They can have debates, interviews, multimedia presentations, panel discussions, presentations, project making, role-playing, speech delivery, storytelling, and reading. Under mathematics, they can have their performance tasks as constructing graphs from surveys conducted, multimedia presentation, outdoor math, probability experiments, problem posing, reasoning and proofreading through recitation, using manipulatives to show math concepts or solve problems, using measuring tools or devices. Okay, other examples for the different learning areas, we also have under Aralin Panlipunan, they can have the performance tasks on community involvement, debate, interviews, issue awareness, news reporting, presentations, and multimedia presentations. They can also have role play, simulations. Under MAPE for music, they can have the following under performance task: multimedia presentations, musical presentation, skill demonstrations, singing or playing instrument. While for arts, they can have the following as their performance task: art production, multimedia presentation, portfolio, skills demonstration. They can have the drawing, coloring, and painting. So you can have more or other samples under performance task. Now, when we say performance task, in order for us to be able to give an objective grade for each of our learner, we need to have a rubric. Now, what is a rubric? This is a learning assessment tool that is used to evaluate written outputs, products, or performance-based tasks. It is a scoring guide that articulates the expectations and describes the level of quality expected from a learner. So we will not just give grades to our learners based on our opinions, but we need to have a rubric so that we will be able to give a grade that our learners deserve well. So let us also remember that the rubrics contain 4 essential features: a task description or a descriptive title of the task, a scale or scoring. The rubric should also have the components or criteria. And lastly, the rubric should have the description of the performance quality. Now let's take a look of a sample of the portfolio. Okay, we have here a rubric that is designed to evaluate the portfolio submission based on the content, presentation of work, and reflection. So we have there the title, a portfolio grading, and you have there the description. What is the scoring? The scoring is between 80 to 85. A grade or a performance description will be given. A significant number of required items are missing, so the score can give a grade between 80 to 85. If all the required items are included, items demonstrate some of the desired learning outcomes for the term, the student has gained some understanding of the concepts and attempts to apply them, the teacher can give a grade between 85 to 89. And another descriptive performance, all required items are included with a few additions. Items clearly demonstrate most of the desired learning outcomes for the item. The student has gained a general understanding of the concepts and application. The teacher can give here a grade between 90 to 94. Another performance description, all required items are included with a significant number of additions. Items clearly demonstrate that desired learning outcomes for the term have been achieved. So the teacher here now can give a grade between 95 to 100. So there is a basis, there is a criteria on how the teacher can give scores on the performance task that the learners will be submitting. Another sample here of a rubric for math problem solving rubric. So that is the title. The description is the rubric is designed to measure the quality of a process rather than the quality of an end product. Work samples or collection of work will need to include some evidence of the individual's thinking about a problem solving. Example, reflections on the process from problem to proposed solution, steps in a problem-based learning assignment, record of think aloud protocol while solving a problem. Now that is the description. The criteria here or the dimensions are: define the problem. The learner should also be able to identify appropriate strategies, and the learner should also implement the solution. Now, these are the scale and the scoring. 3 points will be given if they have mastered the skills. 2 points will be given if they are working towards mastery, and 1 point will be given if the learner also needs improvement. And under each scale and scoring, performance descriptors are also given. So that is an overview on the process flow, on the different kinds of assessment that we need to provide to our learners. That is, once again, the formative assessment and the summative assessment. And under summative assessment, we need to record and grade the written works and the performance tasks of our learners. I do hope that you have been clarified on the process flow that we are going to follow in the schools division of Marikina City. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.